As the Agricultural Act of 2014 was implemented, the National Cotton Council communicated regularly with members to enhance their understanding of key farm law decisions and deadlines. After the legislation was signed early in the year, the Council immediately scheduled 49 education meetings in 15 Cotton Belt states. In the trade arena, the Council faced adversity after the Turkish Ministry of Economy announced it was investigating imports of U.S. cotton to determine if dumping was occurring in the Turkish market. The Council worked quickly to keep affected members apprised of the situation and to convey industry concerns to the administration and Congress. Fortunately, the U.S.-Brazil dispute in the World Trade Organization was concluded. The U.S. cotton industry had undertaken extensive efforts to resolve this case and offered comprehensive reform of cotton policy as part of the new farm law. Early in the year, the Council issued a statement thanking House Agriculture Committee Chairman Frank Lucas and Ranking Member Collin Peterson for their perseverance in getting farm legislation through the House. The Council said it appreciated the bill's authorization of the Stacked Income Protection Plan, or STAX, a new crop insurance product tailored to cotton, and an important step for achieving a final resolution of the long-standing Brazil WTO case. However, the Council did express the industry's concern about the inclusion of instructions to the Secretary to propose changes in the criteria used to determine eligibility for commodity programs beginning in 2015, and the further reduction in the adjusted gross income eligibility test. The Council also noted that reimposition of limitations on marketing loan benefits could disrupt orderly marketing in times of low prices. Those concerns were also relayed to Senate Agriculture, Nutrition and Forestry Committee Chairwoman Debbie Stabenow and Ranking Member Thad Cochran, in a statement that also commended the pair for their efforts in getting farm legislation through the Senate. The Council commended USDA's Risk Management Agency after it announced that STAX would be available to upland cotton producers through the Federal Crop Insurance Program beginning with the 2015 crop year. The Council also commended RMA after it announced the implementation of the Actual Production History Yield Exclusion, which will be available nationwide for farmers of select crops beginning in spring 2015. When USDA announced the farm law's final crop insurance provisions late in the year, the Council scheduled and conducted 25 STAX farm law workshops across the Cotton Belt to provide its members with in-depth information regarding insurance options for cotton under the Agricultural Act of 2014. The Council also conducted webinars to widen the information distribution. After the House Appropriations Committee announced plans to begin work on the FY15 agriculture spending measure, the Council urged it and the Senate Appropriations Panel to reject any amendments to the FY15 agriculture spending measure that would change the newly enacted Farm Bill's provisions. The Council also urged the inclusion of cost-share funding to USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service for the Cotton Pests Eradication Program account in the amount of $11.5 million, and full funding for the Market Access Program and Foreign Market Development Program. In letters to several members of California's congressional delegation, the Council urged the House and Senate to work to resolve the differences between S-2198 and H.R. 3964, and work together in the remaining days of the 113th Congress to approve comprehensive drought relief legislation. The Senate Finance Committee approved the Expire Act, a measure that temporarily extended for 2 years a number of expiring tax provisions. The Council joined other members of the Ag Tax Coalition in urging extension of Section 179 and bonus depreciation. Those provisions were included in the package. The Council joined with more than 30 other agricultural trade organizations on a letter to House members supporting H.R. 4413, the Customer Protection and End User Relief Act. The bill also reauthorized the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. The Council also worked with a group that included several agricultural organizations on a letter to House Speaker John Boehner and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, in which congressional members were urged to support the targeted truck weight provisions included in Section 125 of the FY15 Transportation, Housing and Urban Development Appropriations Act. The House ultimately passed the bill with no changes to Section 125. During meetings in Geneva, Mark Lang and John McGuire conveyed to WTO officials and ambassadors of C4 sub-Saharan cotton-producing countries key information about the new U.S. Farm Law's cotton provisions. While there, Deputy U.S. Trade Representative Michael Punk joined Council leaders in a session with the ambassadors of the West African cotton-producing countries. Punke was vocal in his insistence that countries, including China, India, and Brazil, report the level of their agriculture subsidy programs to the WTO as required. Later, the Council submitted comments to the USTR in advance of a public hearing on China's compliance with the WTO. Council Chairman Wally Darnell also testified at the Washington, D.C. hearing. After the U.S. government announced the conclusion of the U.S.-Brazil trade dispute in the WTO, Council Chairman Wally Darnell thanked the U.S. government for its efforts and reiterated that the U.S. cotton industry had undertaken extensive efforts to resolve this case and offered comprehensive reform of cotton policy as part of the new farm law. The National Cotton Council remained engaged with EPA and other organizations as EPA released proposed revisions to the Agricultural Worker Protection Standard, an effort that had been underway for more than a decade. Council staff, joined by American Cotton Producers Chairman Bowen Flowers and Monsanto representatives, participated in a session with EPA to express cotton's concerns over the proposed geographic restrictions and mandatory weed resistance label proposals for the herbicide labels for dicamba-traded cotton varieties. The Council joined with other groups in requesting an extension of the 90-day comment period on a proposed rule from EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers that would define jurisdictional waters of the U.S., or WOTUS, under the Clean Water Act. President Obama signed the Water Resources Reform and Development Act into law. That bill, which had been approved overwhelmingly by the House and Senate, authorized the construction of major navigation and flood risk management projects. Moreover, Section 1049 of the law provided farmers and ranchers some relief from EPA's Spill Prevention Control and Countermeasure Rule on farm storage tanks of fuel. The Council continued to be highly involved in pollinator protection activities that challenged crop protection product usage. Among activities the Council monitored was a study headed by the Pollinator Stewardship Council and Pesticide Research Institute, which were encouraging beekeepers to report pesticide-related bee kills and to collect samples for lab analysis without having to wait on official state-led agencies to collect the data. The Texas Boll Weevil Eradication Foundation Program Director reported to the Council's Boll Weevil International Technical Advisory Committee that the majority of boll weevil captures in Texas continue to be in close proximity to the Rio Grande River bordering Mexico. Reason for optimism was that boll weevil captures on the lower Rio Grande Valley's cotton acres through October 2014 were 67% less than 2013. The Council's Joint Cotton Industry Bale Packaging Committee specifications for cotton bale packaging materials were approved by USDA for packaging 2014 crop cotton for Commodity Credit Corporation loan program purposes. Based on Council board action, USDA was able to utilize EWR Incorporated developed software that provided the agency with the ability to see shipping order information sent by merchants to warehouses, a move aimed at ensuring warehouses are meeting the minimum shipping standard. Specifically, the action allowed USDA to review an audit trail of requested shipping dates provided to EWR Incorporated compared to actual dates shipped and bales made available for shipment data. The Council mailed contamination-free cotton flyers to its producer, gin, and warehouse leadership as part of a reminder that preventing lint contamination is everyone's responsibility. The flyer focused on pre-harvest, in-season, and post-harvest steps for preventing contaminants from getting into seed cotton and baled lint. Field to Market, the Alliance for Sustainable Agriculture, announced the launch of a new agricultural supply chain program for U.S. commodity crops. That alliance brings together a diverse group of grower organizations, agribusinesses, food, fiber, restaurant, and retail companies, conservation groups, universities, and agency partners to focus on promoting, defining, and measuring the sustainability of food, fiber, and fuel production. Continuing Farm Bill implementation, trade policy, environmental, and regulatory issues will remain priorities for this industry. The Council staff and leadership will actively manage the many challenges that face the industry in the months to come. Strong industry participation in the organization and politically active industry leaders will continue to assure future success for U.S. cotton.